Blue often speaks too softly when he tries to borrow color from the sky. He doesn't remember what water tastes like and he's thirsty. Perched atop the heads of flightless crumb cravers gathered around the bones of an oak here. Love is love for those birds who've never learned a song.
Yeah.
If you want to share, share what's yours, not what somebody else's. So that's like my rule is like, I'm going to tell you a story and I promise it's mine. So that's how I write as far as context goes. And in the style of it, I use a lot of like metaphors and a lot of imagery, and I just hope that people get it, or they at least, or that the image at least invokes the same kind of feeling that it had in me when I wrote it. There were 6 on my kitchen counter last Tuesday, so I ended up inhaling them all way too quickly and ended up coughing up a lung that wasn't looking too much more other than translating. And my dad was the only one that was marrying the children. And yeah, it was fun. It was like me and my one little brother for a while, and then like I think it was like 10 when we had our like little brother. And it was just like this big family environment. We had this giant round table that we ate dinner at. It had this huge ladies who sit in the middle. Very like traditional growing up, like stay at the table until everybody's done. Definitely like the poems that the poets that have influenced me directly are people that are in the Austin scene. Like Love Robinson was one of you could say like was one of my first like avenues into this poetry world, and she has a poem called Bushy, and the first time I heard it I was kind of blown away by it. Now Christopher Lee has always been very helpful about the aspects of slam, and of course my first slam team in '09 was made up of Tova Charles, Ebony Stewart, and Sarah Uphoff, and all their writings and their performance have influenced everything that I've had, and our slam coach Brian Francis was like definitely had a heavy-handed like influence on the direction that I took a lot of these things, and these are people that I still email and ask like, hey, I'm working on this, what do you think? Just in the community, of course, like the big names, when I first actually really started Googling this, getting into it, people always throw these names around, like Anis Mujgani is on like the higher echelons of this like slam world. Buddy Wakefield is incredible, and I was lucky enough to open for Buddy not too long ago. But yeah, I can just keep going with these names, and they're all freaking incredible. So I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Today might feel like one of those days, when, especially again with slam poets, you're already, with being part of this community, you're already on the fringes of like literature and culture because it's so new, but it's gaining momentum that people know about it. But somewhere there are poems about us, and they tell us we're supposed to be finding ourselves these days, and these days tell me they will someday, but someday only comes on some days, and some days are harder than other days. And actually, the most difficult poem for me to write took me no more than 2 days to write. Not because, that's not me trying to sound like I'm cool or anything like that. It wasn't difficult as a poem, it was difficult as a subject matter. And by the 2 days, I mean the physical writing. It took about 2 days. But to finally get to the point where I was okay with writing that poem was, of course, months and months of searching and whatever. And when it was written, it was with the frame set of that it was going to be done as a group piece. And the poem is called Rock and Roll Blues, and it deals with a very, very dark topic. It's a poem about drug addiction, and using, and heavily using, and having the drugs be your life, and it's paralleled with with performance, and that's the big metaphor about it, because I mean, if you've ever seen someone do like a glamour type drag, say heroin or cocaine or something that entails more than popping and like smoking a doobie, there's like a sick spectacle to watching somebody do it. And it's almost like they're performing for you because these things are so involved. So, but and you just can't like peel your eyes off of it. But it was very hard to write because of certain things that have happened, like prior to the poem actually being born. So. Somehow realize what you've got to do, and I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Slam has been used as a medium for activism before, just as music has and art has. So